Good afternoon. My name is Jake Watson. I'm a third-year student here at the University of Central Oklahoma, and I currently have the privilege of serving as president of Lambda Iota chapter of the Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity here at UCO. I want to take just a moment to talk a little bit about myself, where I come from, and what makes me so passionate about what I'm going to be talking to you all about today. Before I moved to Edmond, originally I'm from Carnegie, Oklahoma. It's a small, rural community located in southwest Oklahoma with a population of roughly 1,700 people and home to a Class A high school where I was a part of a graduating class of only 38 students. Now, before I dive too deep into our topic today, I want to explain a couple terms that I'm going to be using quite a bit throughout this talk. Firstly, I want to talk about what high and low income schools are classified as. High income schools are schools in which less than 50% of their student body are eligible for free and reduced lunch programs, while low-income schools are schools in which more than 50% of their students are eligible for these free and reduced lunches. On the other hand, high-poverty schools are schools in which more than 75% of their students are eligible for these free and reduced lunches, and a low-poverty school are schools in which less than 25% of their student body are eligible for these programs. I want to take a trip back now for just a moment to 2019, whenever I was going through my college admissions process, just like so many other people here in this room have done the same. And while initially applying to colleges, I was denied a lot of scholarships. This wasn't due to a lack of academic prowess, you could say. I was a good student. I graduated with a 4.0 GPA. I made a 30 on my ACT. It wasn't due to this lack of academic success, but rather because I graduated with 0 AP credits. This wasn't because of my unwillingness to take these courses, though. It's because my school did not offer these programs. We did not have anybody on our staff able to teach these classes, and my school didn't have the resources available to hire someone from the outside to come in and teach them for us. Now, through my resilience as a student, I have been able to gain scholarships and to continue my education, partly because of my continued academic success, as I now boast a 3.91 GPA as a junior, and also because of my involvement on campus, as I work to establish a name for myself, for my organization, and for the community that I come from. Fortunately, I have been given the opportunity to continue my academic career and to have the privilege of standing here before you all today. Unfortunately, I know far too many students who did not get the same opportunities that I did due to circumstances that they could not control. It's 2022. A college education is more important now than ever before. A degree carries more merit than it ever has. It plays a pivotal role in the success of so many aspiring young professionals, and is a key factor in the equation of the success of our students. But for so many students, a college education is more out of reach now than ever before. If we take a look at differences in college enrollment statistics between high and low income schools, we see that 76% of students from high income schools go on to attend college directly after high school. More than 3 out of every 4 students are attending some form of higher education institution. This is an impressive statistic, and it is a statistic that these school districts should be proud of. But only 54% of students from high poverty high schools go on to attend college directly after high school. That's a difference of 22%. Out of every 100 students, 22 students are not receiving the same opportunities due to their economic status. These students had no say in their upbringing. They didn't choose to get their education in these low-income school districts, but they were placed at a disadvantage from the very beginning. These students were forced into a system that seems to work against them. Education should be a fundamental human right, not an economic privilege. And so many of these students who can't afford to attend college are often hit with the arguments of, if you do well in school, you can get an academic scholarship. And if you do well in sports, you can get an athletic scholarship. And I love these arguments. I believe that every student should pursue excellence. Every student should aim to be the best that they possibly can, regardless of what they do. These arguments are amazing in theory, but they don't work so well in practice. When we take a look at differences in standardized test scores, we see that on average, low-income students score 2 grade levels below their high-income peers. Low-income 8th graders are scoring on the same level as high-income 6th graders because these students are receiving a lower quality of education. And so many athletes from these low-income, often small communities don't receive the exposure that they need to be able to succeed at a higher level. It's not because these athletes are unworthy, but rather because far too often they're forced to display their talents for an audience that has no one there to recruit them. Because so many colleges and universities feel like these small communities aren't worth their time. There's so much untapped potential. And so many students do not get to capitalize and use the skills that they have because they're forced into a system that seems to work against them. Because schools in low-income communities are funded by the property taxes of the communities that they're in. On average, school districts with the highest rates of poverty receive about $1,000 less per student in state and local aid. Given a school of 300 students, they're receiving $300,000 less per year in state and local funding. As a result, these schools are underfunded, and they're unable to provide so many of the tools and the resources necessary for the success of their students. These underfunded schools are an issue, but that's okay, because it's an issue that can be resolved. When we take a look at public education programs all across the country, we can see that New Jersey boasts the best public education system in the United States. And this is due partly to their reformed education budgeting. What they have done is the governor of New Jersey has moved more state aid towards traditionally underfunded school districts in an effort to close their spending gaps. In an effort to lessen this difference in the quality of education provided between their high and low income students. New Jersey is working to provide a more fair and equal education opportunity for youth all across their state. In the state of Oklahoma, education funding is based off of local and county school taxes. In a lot of low-income communities, the cost of living is relatively low. As a result, these communities aren't able to generate as much tax revenue to contribute to their school district's educational funding. And a lot of these small school districts, often smaller communities, don't have as many individuals available to contribute to this overall number of tax dollars that are funding their educational systems. In the last 10 years, Oklahoma's student population has increased by nearly 50,000 students. To put that into perspective, the largest school district in the state of Oklahoma is Oklahoma City Public Schools, with a population of roughly 45,000 students. In the last 10 years, Oklahoma has absorbed the equivalent of another metropolitan area school district with no increase in budget, no increase in overall funding to accommodate for this inflow of extra students. As a result, so many schools in the state of Oklahoma are underfunded and unable to provide so many of the tools necessary for their student success. And this is why Oklahoma ranks among one of the worst public education programs in the United States. But these issues can be resolved. By increasing the overall educational funding provided by the state of Oklahoma, we can accommodate for this inflow of extra students. And by moving more state aid towards our traditionally underfunded, low-income school districts, we can close this gap. We can lessen the disparity of the quality of education provided between our high and low-income students. We can work to provide a more fair and equal educational opportunity for youth all across our state. But it is our job as members of society to press for the enactment of these reforms. I want to take one last trip back. 3 years ago, I was applying to become a part of Oklahoma's Academic All-State. And the main portion of this application consisted of an essay. And the prompt of this essay was, how have Oklahoma public schools prepared you for your adult life? Now, I don't want to take the time to bore you all with the details and the specifics and what all exactly I put in my essay. But to make a long story short, I didn't receive these honors. It's not because of a lack of qualification, I'd like to believe. All of the criteria for these honors were clearly outlined, and I was able to check every box. It wasn't because of a lack of qualification, but rather because I told them the truth. Oklahoma public schools did not prepare me for my adult life. I have seen countless students fall victim to the system that seems to work against them. This cycle has gone on for generations, and it will continue to go on for generations more until a change is made. To further ensure the success of our students, of our youth, to ensure the success of our future members of society, someone needs to step in and make a change. That change starts here. The change starts with us. Thank you.